So in this video, I am going to go over entries and targets with Euro USD on the 4-hour time frame. So many of you look at the chart and think, okay, where do I start? Where do I enter a trade? Where do I exit? All that kind of stuff. So the first thing you want to realize is you want to go to the daily time frame and just see what's been happening the last couple days. So we've had a big impulse here and then a correction, and then we had a correction here, but mainly it's at resistance right here. So we can see that if it respects this area, that we could end up getting a deeper pullback. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, what we can do in order to take this trade is we can take our horizontal ray tool, go to the line chart, and just click the point and edit the coordinates. So 113,474 rounds to 113,475. So I like to keep it 25, 50, 75 quarters and evens. Okay, so at this price, we can expect that price will reject. So this is coming up to this price. So we want to make sure we have exhaustion around this area before taking a sell down. So what we want to do is go on the lower time frames. And again, guys, like you can split your chart. If you have the pro version of TradingView, I think it's like $10 a month. You can just go like this and then put the put Euro USD here and then put this on the 15-minute. Okay, so then you have your larger time frames on here. You have your 4-hour on here. And then you have your 15 or 30-minute on here. So you can just get more price action. You can just watch and see what's happening on the lower time frames to get that precise entry. Or what you can do is do another tab and then put this tab on 4-hour, this tab on 30 or 15, whatever you want to do. Anyways, so we can see that price is approaching this key level. So what we want to do is just drop down to lower time frames and kind of see what's happening, okay? So let's press play. Okay, so right at that 1.13475, it like hits it to the T. I think it went past like a pip. Yeah, 1 pip, okay? And then it starts to reject. So what can happen is since we have that rejection here and previously, what we can do is we can set either a limit order or we can just get ready to see, okay, this is rejecting right here in this area. And since this is major resistance, what we can do is take a sell. So we can take a sell at that 1.13 since it's rejected previously and we see that wick, or we can take it right after the trade. So let's just show what happens. Okay, so right here we can see that we are not coming up to test the highs. So if we were coming up to test the highs again, it would look something like this and then drop. Okay, so in this case, there's no bullish momentum. It just starts exhausting here. And again, we can see that on the 30-minute time frame. So right here. Okay, so if you missed this original entry, this is like a wick entry. So you have to be ready for this. Let's say you missed that correction, but you see that the 4-hour time frame closed bearish, okay? So what you can do is take advantage of this price action right here. So what we would do is take our short position and, or let's take the horizontal ray first to make sure we get that precise entry. Okay, so we'll round this to 250. Okay, so it hits it right on point at the 1.13250. Guys, I'm telling you, round numbers, key to trading. Okay, so entry is 131,250. And then again, we're on the 30-minute time frame. So what we can do is put our stop loss literally right above. So let's just do a 10 pip stop loss, okay? So what ends up happening is it respects structure and starts to drop. So we're in this at 1.13250. So where is our target? So what we want to do is kind of just look at what price is telling us from previous, okay? So we have rejection in this area. Okay? And then we have rejection here. Sorry, I need to make the colors like different colors from resistances in support. It's my OCD kicking in. Okay, so what ends up happening is our first target is where structure failed to break below. Okay, so right here. So this is around price 1.12300. Okay, so our profit level is 1.1300, 1.12300. Okay, so it's hitting it right now. So let's see what happens next. Okay, so what happens next is price tries to break below, but then exhausts. Okay, so when we look on the lower time frames, we can see that as well. So right here, it breaks, tests, and then tries to break below, then comes up, fakes out, tests. It sometimes does this, guys. Like it'll retest structure, but there's not enough bearish momentum. There's not enough sellers to push price down. So it just ranges a bit and then ends up breaking above. So that happens and you just have to be prepared for it. So we're prepared for it. Our first target's here, our second target's here. Price can't reach this. Then what we do is we take profit. So this is a 1 to 9, guys. This is risking 10 pips to make 95. So our first target, it's good. It's almost 100 pips, right? So what ends up happening is price, like I said, ranges and comes up, comes down, kind of is tricky in this range. And you're not going to get a perfect setup every single time. So what you need to do is just be prepared. Okay, so we're kind of ranging it in this area. Then what ends up happening is we break above, come back down, test this structure. So test the 1.123 and then go right back up. So in this case, we would take profit here since it's been ranging around this level. And then what ends up happening is it comes back to that 1.13475. So it doesn't touch it quite there, but again, if you miss that, we can just go on a 30-minute time frame and get that entry. So it's a huge pin bar showing, okay, it's rejecting that price. So like I said, even if you got it after that pin bar, that's still a good trade. So what ends up happening from this, and again, that 1.13475 area rejected a couple times. So it's on major structure, so it rejected once more. Okay, so what ends up happening, comes up to test the 1.13250. Okay, so it comes up to the 1.3250, breaks, and then it breaks here. So here, I'll show you. So this is what happens. Comes up, makes an M pattern. So comes up, makes an M pattern, rejects, and down. Then what ends up happening after an M pattern, reverses. Okay, and then it came down, tested that area where it supported, right in here, and respected, and then reversed. Okay, so if you were to take a sell at that 1.13250 once more, that's fine. Again, our target was over here, but what can happen is it doesn't, like, this is kind of messy price action. It was just going up and down and up and down, but again, we're prepared. So what ends up happening, I'm just showing you, like, one sec. I'm just showing you what can happen in messy price action situations, just so you're prepared for it. So 15, oops. 15 pip stop loss, and then our first target would be down here, right? But then what ends up happening is it respects structure. So it does a correction, then comes back down. So as you're seeing these wicks, it's telling you that price isn't going to reach that target, okay? So let's say you did enter here and then moved your target up. That's still a 1 to 4, okay? So it's still 62 pips. It's still a good amount of pips. But again, we got to focus on where price is going. So what ends up happening is it supports here, then comes back up, tries to fake out of the 1.3475. So it goes to 1.13655, then fakes out, closes below that 1.13475, and then tanks. Where does it go? Back to here. So as you see that fake out, you can take this entry, right? So what ends up happening is, let's say you took it from here. So fakes out, closes below, and retests. So again, take it from here. And then structure. So we have our low here, right? And then we have the low where it could not break lower. So our first target would be here. So again, that's a 1 to 5. Oops. Okay. Then what ends up happening is it starts reversing. So like I said in the previous videos, eventually structure is going to break in this zone, in this range, and it's going to break higher because it's tested so many times. So what ends up happening? It tests the top high, okay? So let's just see. Okay, so what ends up happening is it breaks structure here. This is structure, so what ends up happening, broke structure here, then tested, then continued up, tested structure here, and then completely bullish market, okay? So when we look on the daily time frame, it passed this high, tested, and then as well as right here, and it just went up. There's so many buyers in the market. It was super, super bullish. Okay, so going back to here, since we saw the support, I'm going to go on the 1 hour. Since we saw this support and we saw it could not break below price and the candlestick body closed above, we can end up taking a buy. And this is counter trend trading, by the way. Okay, so let's see here, until 650, stop loss below. I can even make it 20 pips, that's fine. Again, it depends on what time frame you're entering on. So then our target would be, this would be our first target at structure right here. So what ends up happening is it respects and then falls, but we are still in an uptrend right here, okay? So then price ends up breaking, then going to the high right here, respects, drops back down and tests that exact price, okay? And then respects it, and again, we're looking at the 1 hour. When you go on the lower time frames, you get that confirmation. So just from wicking it from that 113.251, boom. Okay, and what does it do? Goes through, that 1.139, comes down, tests it, almost tests one more time, and then goes up to the 1.144 target. So just from this entry, again, you're just watching how it reacts to each level. So just from this entry and watching it all the way up, that's a 1 to 8, risking 20 pips to make 171 pips. Okay. So then it ends up breaking this structure. Okay. You got an entry from way down here. Okay. So price isn't going to go from 1.15 to 1.12 overnight or during the week even. Like it's not going to get near your entry. And when you're in profit like this, you break even, or you can move your stop loss closer to where price is. Totally up to you. Totally depends on your trading plan. So what ends up happening, price stays here. And since we're in an uptrend, we're not going to take any sells just because it's so strong. And when we're looking at higher time frames, we can see that it's really bullish. So respects the structure, keeps dropping, then comes up, eventually breaks the structure, tests, and that 1.14 area, sorry, I'll round it, 1.14 area respects and then completely shoots up. So your entries here, your targets here, you can see that it's still in a large uptrend, like it's not going anywhere, right? So then again, you're just extending your target. Okay, so that's all you do, guys, for your entries and exits. Like you just look at structure, mark it up, and see exactly what's happening. You just go from high to low and see how it's respecting that structure. So if you want to just follow the trend and not counter trend, so the reason why I talk about counter trending is because you can take a sell from a major zone and get a certain amount of pips out of it. But if it's showing you like a double bottom or a W or something like that, that's still 100 pips up. You know what I mean? So you can take it from all angles. If you just want to follow the trend, so let's say you took a sell from here and then it supported right here and you could see that price wouldn't go lower, then you can take profit. And then as you can see that it's changing direction, and then when you're looking at higher time frames, you can say, okay, impulse correction, which we did get a correction like I said we would. And then we had another impulse. That's really what it is. That's all it is. So just when you see the market change, you can take a buy position. And again, you're just watching each and every level. Okay, so let's do, actually, I've already talked about homework and doing entries and exits. You guys should get it by now. If you have questions on this, if you want to do a video call, let me know. But again, make sure you're following structure. It's really, really easy to get entries and exits out of this strategy.